case you didn't know, we love the Baal Shem Tov at Washington Hebrew Congregation. The Baal Shem Tov tells the story of a shepherd boy who wanted to pray on Yom Kippur but couldn't read the words in Hebrew, so he would whisper aloud the Aleph Bet, saying, "God, take these letters and make the prayers for me." The people sitting around him were horrified, but the Baal Shem Tov declared, "The pure prayers from this boy's heart carried all of ours straight to heaven." Tonight, we are like that young shepherd, struggling to find the words that will carry our prayers to heaven. This past year, finding the right words was a daily struggle for so many of us, including me. There is a lot of pressure, some self-imposed, to make sure my words are perfect. As I initially wrote this sermon, I thought, how can I talk about Israel with you? How can I talk about the war in Gaza, the Iranian attacks and Israel's response? How can I talk about the children in Israel and the children in Gaza? Many of you hope that I will only praise Israel, whether it's with words of Jewish pride or to discredit the other side. Others only want me to choose words that speak about what the Israeli government is doing wrong in Gaza. Some want me only to speak about the return of the hostages and nothing else. And still others only want me to speak out against Hamas and its stated mission to annihilate the state of Israel. So like that shepherd, I will rely on a little help from God and hope you hear my message with an open heart. Here are my truths. I support Israel's right to live in peace and to defend itself against ongoing terrorist attacks. I abhor Hamas and all that it stands for. I will continue to call for the immediate release and return of all hostages still being held in Gaza, both alive or dead. And I hear the cries of the hungry and suffering in Gaza. My Jewish values and human decency move me to speak and to act on behalf of all those innocent who are suffering. The end of the war and the return of the hostages has been in sight so many times. It needs to end now so we can pursue a path to lasting peace. Tonight, that possibility feels closer than ever. So close, I prayed that I would need to rewrite my entire sermon today. As has been said, there are decades where nothing happens, and there are weeks where decades happen, and this has been one of those weeks. On Rosh Hashanah, we reflected on how we can put the broken pieces of our world back together. On Yom Kippur, we turn our gaze inward, inside our families, inside us, inside our relationships. We are instructed that on the Day of Atonement, our atonement is not complete until we have made peace with one another. How do we share our words when there is so much distrust of those who hold a different view, or when we believe that their sources are not accurate, or that they are endangering our Jewish community and Jewish peoplehood? This holds for whatever we believe to be true. Today, the word Zionism itself has become a lightning rod. It does not stand for war, destruction, violence against Palestinians, despite what some might think, and despite how it has been co-opted to serve a campaign against the state of Israel and against the Jewish people. Zionism is about our right as Jews to have a place where we can exist and live safely. The rabbis of the Talmud famously taught that the temple was destroyed not by the Romans, but by sinat chinam, baseless hatred between different factions of Judaism. Our Israeli brothers and sisters are asking us to stand with them in their protests against their government. As of March of this year, 70% of Israelis don't trust their government. It is precisely because we love Israel that we must stand with the people and land of Israel. I love Israel, the miracle, the possibility, the promise. The IDF is filled with my friends' children. We can and must stand in expressions of solidarity with a people and a homeland we love without endorsing every action of the current government. The effects of this war have wreaked havoc on our relationships and on the next generation. We know there are many who deeply love their Judaism and are proudly Jewish, but do not feel a sense of attachment to Israel. The actions of its current government only serve to deepen that alienation. Yet polling shows that 85% of young Jews believe Israel has a right to exist as a Jewish state, and 75% believe both Jews and Palestinians have a right to self-determination. These numbers tell a very different story, one of a deeply nuanced relationship, not a mass turning away. Today is the day for each of us to take a step, to turn to each other, to make peace with our family members, with each other, and within ourselves as we try to understand our hearts. The liturgy of this day, the holiest day of the year, is both relevant and resonant. Our vows and confessions, our prayers and our pleas acknowledge our imperfect interactions with each other and the world. It reminds us how to talk to each other, how to treat each other, so that after repairing ourselves and our relationships, we can move forward together. I recently learned a new midrash. Well, the midrash isn't new. It was new to me, maybe to you as well, but it feels so appropriate for this moment. In the tractate of the Talmud that deals with Yom Kippur customs and traditions, we learn that when Rabbi Ze'ira had a complaint against a person who had insulted him, he would go and stand in front of the person's house and just pace back and forth and back and forth until the person would eventually come out and make amends. It was his way of making himself present and available so that it would be as easy as possible for the other person to apologize to him. Right. On the surface, it might seem like Rabbi Ze'ira is fishing for the apology. But the rabbis teach that the injured party also has a responsibility in this relationship. Forgiveness is possible when we meet the person who has offended us with grace and openness. Ego can play no role in the mending. The story also reminds us that the best conversations don't happen over text, email, and social posts. They happen in person. It's so easy to reach for the fastest way to get out our message. But in the rush to defend ourselves or in our rush to condemn, we may not realize that our words can cause hurt and pain. The rabbis knew that it is not always easy to confront each other when we have disagreements. And they understood the importance of us showing up, ready to engage in a difficult conversation, and the importance of meeting each other with compassionate curiosity. Sometimes the hard part is listening, not with a ready reply, but in the spirit of true understanding. And while we listen, we need to give each other the benefit of the doubt. Give each other a chance to fully express feelings without jumping in to judge or tell someone they're wrong, to set aside our grievance and really hear another heartbeat. I want you to know that in all of the conversations I've had with you about Israel this year, every single person has expressed their views through the lens of their love for Judaism and the Jewish people, and that gives me great hope. And adjacent to hope is forgiveness. We need both this Yom Kippur if we want to stand together now and in the future. Today is the reset, the day when we again turn to one another rather than away from one another. Teshuvah, the idea of turning, feels like the logical next step. Our rabbis teach that teshuvah is much closer than we realize. And in one account that you've learned from the Baal Shem Tov, but that I learned from my teacher, a rabbi asked his students, how far is it from east to west? And they each give various estimations in miles, employing detailed, complicated mathematical equations that would stump even the most gifted engineering student. And then, as you know, the rabbi listens and explains that the distance from east to west is only one step. Just put one foot forward and turn yourself around to face the one who sees differently from you. It feels like such a simple beginning, full of possibility. But with all of the dissonance these days, that first step can feel like it's miles wide. We Jews are so familiar with the idea of forgiveness. It is threaded through our Torah. It is literally in our DNA. But right now, forgiveness is in short supply. It is easy to say, I won't talk about that. It is much harder to hold out the olive branch and say, can we talk about this? But when we do that, it bridges that distance and it brings us together. And it starts with just one step. Set aside time this year to have these important conversations. Reach out to a family member with whom you've struggled or disagreed. Let them know you want to hear their view. You are ready to listen. And most importantly, that you are committed to the relationship, even if you don't agree. Because as family, as Jews, our relationships with each other are important. Go for coffee with someone you've met at Washington Hebrew who you know holds a different perspective. We're happy to connect you to fellow members so that you can create new connections, or you can do it yourself today and tomorrow as you walk through our lobby or as you sit in services or in one of our study sessions. Meet that person with compassionate curiosity as you share your story and as you learn theirs. Meet a friend for a walk and invest in the conversation as you build and strengthen your relationship. We Jews have to come together. We are becoming ever more isolated, and we cannot afford for some within the Jewish community to feel that they are persona non grata, especially if they are expressing their Jewish values. And we will continue to be here for you, whatever your opinion, questions, or position on Israel. Our WHC clergy are here to listen. Tomorrow we will read from Parshat Nitzavim. You stand this day, all of you, before Adonai your God, to enter into the covenant. God is speaking to everyone who is standing at Sinai. Men, women, children, all those assembled on that day. God makes that covenant not only with the Israelites assembled, but also those of future generations. To us, now. We need to stand together this day and every day, in all our brokenness, in our vulnerability, in our yearning for wholeness. Our tradition does not ask us to be perfect. It asks us to show up, to stand before God and before one another, ready to try again, ready to turn into teshuvah, to each other, to our people, to the moral values that make us who we are. Like the shepherd in the Baal Shem Tov story, this moment, this day, this time does not require us to have or find the right words. We simply need to find our way to another's door. Rabbi Zeira stood outside the door of the one who had hurt him, waiting with openness, prepared to work for reconciliation. That is what we are called to do tonight. Let us begin this Yom Kippur as our ancestors did, standing together, all of us, with hearts open and filled with hope. Amen.
Even if the skies get rough, I'm giving you all my love. I'm still looking up. And when you're needing your space to do some navigating, I'll be here patiently waiting. So easily, I'm here to stay and make the difference that I can make. Our differences, they do a lot to teach us how to use the tools and gifts we got. Yeah, we got a lot at stake. And in the end, you're still my friend. At least we did intend for us to work. We didn't bend, we didn't hurt, we didn't